We live in a world that is just constantly screaming for our attention. It's noisy. But what if I told you that real power, true strength, isn't found in what you say, but in what you choose not to say? We're going to explore why the most powerful people in any room often aren't the loudest, but are actually the masters of silence. Now, this isn't about being shy or not having anything to say. Not at all. It's about a huge shift in how you see the world. Think of your words like money. The more you just throw them around, the less they're actually worth. Okay, so look at this. This really lays it all out, doesn't it? On the left, you've got the path most of us are on by default. Constant noise, reacting to everything. We think we're being smart, having an answer for it all. But the real power? It's over there on the right. When you're intentional with your silence, the words you do use suddenly have incredible weight. You stay in control, and you cut through all that chaos and create real clarity. So what we're really talking about here is something called strategic silence. And let's be clear, this is not a passive thing. It's an active, powerful tool. It's making the choice to hold back, to observe, and to let the empty space you create do all the heavy lifting for you. Honestly, it's probably the highest form of self-control there is. All right, so here's our game plan for breaking down this superpower. We'll start with the big idea, then dive into 3 core pillars, using silence for defense, for influence, and for wisdom. And then we'll see how it all comes together to help you master your presence. Let's jump right in with Pillar 1, defense. This is all about using silence to build a fortress around your peace and your personal power. And we're going to focus on 3 specific situations where silence is your absolute best defense. When someone is trying to provoke you, when you find yourself surrounded by gossip, and maybe the most important one, when you feel that anger rising up inside you. The psychology behind this is just fascinating. See, when someone tries to get a rise out of you, what they're really looking for is a reaction. They want to see you get flustered. By staying completely calm and silent, you just don't give it to them. It's like you're holding up a mirror, and all their negativity and aggression just bounces right back at them. One guy shared this amazing story about a competitor who tried to tear him down in a big meeting. Instead of getting defensive, he just held eye contact, smiled a little, and said nothing. His silence screamed confidence. And guess who ended up winning the contract? And this applies perfectly to gossip too. It is so easy to join in, right? But it's like poison for your reputation. When you make the conscious choice to stay quiet when others are gossiping, you're not being snooty. You're making a powerful statement about your own character. And over time, people notice. You become known as the person who can be trusted. That kind of reputation, it's priceless. Whew, this is a tough lesson, but it is so, so important. Anger is like a fire, and when you speak from inside that fire, you are going to say things you can never, ever take back. Now, silence doesn't mean you just stuff your anger down. No, it means you create a critical buffer, a little space between the feeling and your reaction. A great rule to live by, when you feel that fire building, just go silent for 24 hours. No texts, no emails, nothing. That simple pause has saved more careers and relationships than you can imagine. Okay, so we've covered defense, we've got our shield. Now, let's move to Pillar 2, influence. This is where we stop playing defense and start using silence to proactively shape outcomes and build some serious credibility. And we're going to look at 2 huge scenarios here. What to do when you're in the middle of a negotiation, and, this one's a little counterintuitive, what to do right after you've scored a big success. Okay, listen up. This is a fundamental law of negotiation. After you state your price, after you make your offer, you shut up. You say nothing. The silence creates this incredible pressure on the other person. They feel this overwhelming urge to fill that void. And when they do, they almost always reveal too much or even start negotiating against themselves. One negotiator told a story where he sat in total silence for just 45 seconds after giving a high price, and he just watched as the other side talked themselves into accepting almost the entire deal without him saying another word. It's magic. Now, this one is subtle, but man, is it powerful. When you accomplish something great, your first impulse is to shout it from the rooftops. But when you resist that urge, you send a very different message. It shows that your motivation is internal, that you're not doing it for the applause. And what happens is when people eventually find out about your success on their own, the fact that you were quiet about it makes it 10 times more impressive. It just builds a whole different level of respect.
And that brings us to our final and maybe most profound pillar, wisdom. This is where we use silence to truly listen, to learn, and to connect with ourselves on a deeper level.
So we'll explore 3 practices here: being silent when someone is sharing their pain with you, when you're trying to learn something new, and when you desperately need to hear your own inner voice. We live in a fix-it culture. The second someone shares a problem, we jump in with advice and solutions. But here's the thing. Most of the time, people don't need to be fixed. They just need to be heard. Your silent, focused presence, just being there with them, it creates this sacred space for them to process what they're feeling. It's one of the most compassionate and loving gifts you can ever give another person. This highlights such a critical difference. It's the gap between feeling smart and actually becoming wise. When we're in a learning environment, we love to interrupt with questions to show how engaged we are. But real, deep learning, that happens in the quiet moments of just absorbing the information. When you are truly silent, you start to pick up on the subtleties, the body language, the unspoken wisdom that everyone else is just talking over. And really, this gets to the absolute heart of it all. Think about it. We are bombarded with other people's opinions from the moment we wake up to the moment we go to sleep. And in all of that noise, your own intuition, your own inner voice, it just gets drowned out. Carving out intentional moments of silence is literally the only way to finally hear it again. So, when you put all these pillars together, it brings us to our final destination, mastering your presence. This is where silence stops being a tactic and becomes a fundamental part of who you are and how you show up in the world. So, the huge mindset shift is right here. Silence is not passive, it's active. It's not a sign of weakness, it is a choice of incredible strength. It doesn't create distance between you and other people, it builds this centered, grounded presence that people are naturally drawn to. And ultimately, it is the purest form of self-mastery. So how do you start? Where do you begin? It's actually very simple. It's not easy, but it's simple. You just start with awareness. In your next conversation, just start to notice that little itch, that urge you feel to fill every single pause. And then, just for a second, don't. Just pause. Let the silence sit there. You will be absolutely amazed at what starts to happen. So I'll leave you with this one final thought to reflect on. In your next meeting, your next conversation with a loved one, your next disagreement, what powerful, undeniable message will you choose to send by saying absolutely nothing at all?